up, folks? Listen, doing these things live is what causes us to have technical difficulties, um, and that should not be happening. But we live. We live actually as promised, as discussed on yesterday. Um, I said, we're gonna get on here. We're gonna talk about what's going on with the education or miseducation of wholesalers. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you are joining in on Facebook, like, share, and subscribe. If you're joining in on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Wherever you're joining in, share, 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 share. Follow me across all platforms at Real Life Real Estate Investing or at MrDollarOutofaDime. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the miseducation of wholesalers and what's going on. Like, why are people being steered in the wrong direction? I want to make sure I show some love over here as well. Why so many people being steered in the wrong direction? We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it today, and we're going to have a conversation that's going to get deep. It's going to get real. I want y'all to chime in, tell me what your thoughts are. Put your thoughts in the comments, or I might have a space on either one of these platforms for you all to join in with me, and let's have a conversation. To all my wholesalers out there that's doing some stuff, let's make it happen. Let's educate the wholesalers on the things that need to be happening in this business for real. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. So we're right back here. And today our conversation is about the miseducation of wholesalers. And I got to say this, I have been attempting in many ways to, I'm going to keep it real. I've been trying to get away from wholesaling. I've been trying to get away from wholesaling because I'm doing some other things. I'm teaching wholesaling, so I can't really get away from it all the way. But as it relates to just that aspect of the business, is something that I'm not putting a whole lot of focus on for my personal business, because I'm focusing more on building my portfolio and buying properties and creating cash flow and things like that for my long-term passive residual income. But I want to get to one thing. Let's get one thing clear. Let's make sure we clear one thing up. Wholesaling is a type of investment strategy, right? Wholesaling is not real estate investing, right? That's one thing I want to make sure I clear up. Wholesaling it's an investment strategy. It's a real estate investment strategy, but it is not real estate investing. So most people here getting into real estate investing, they're getting in to do wholesaling. And I am having a problem over here. Let me just make sure my connection is what it's supposed to be, because I keep seeing the connection go in and out, and that's not supposed to happen. All right, so we want to make sure, we right back to that. So wholesaling, again, is a real estate investment strategy, right? It's a way to earn some significant income with real estate. It is not the only form of real estate investing. It is a form of earning money. It's a real estate investment strategy. I want to make sure I clear that up, because some people say they're going to get into a wholesale, they're going to get into real estate investing, and they're going to be a wholesaler. And that's okay. However, I'm not going to beat this dead horse to death. But it's a real estate investment strategy. Now, let's talk about the different things that I've seen over the last couple of days. I'm a constant study. I'm a constant study of the business of real estate investing. I always sharpen my tools. I continuously sharpen my tools, because even being in the business for as long as I've been in, I do understand that I do not know everything. And I do understand that times and things change. So I want to stay ahead of the curve of what's happening in the business of real estate investing. The fundamentals hardly ever change. The fundamentals would not change. Happy holidays to you, my brother. Happy holidays. The fundamentals in the business of real estate investing will not change. There's going to be a house. There's going to be a seller. there's going to be a buyer, right? The things that have changed over the years is how we contact the seller, how we contact the buyer, the tools that we use, these types of things, right? So many people will tell you to get into real estate, you have to have all these new fancy type of things. I'm not going to sell you on that. I wouldn't sign up for that class, as Jim Rohn would say. So there's nothing new, really new in the way business and real estate is done. The only difference is the tools that we use and the way that we access the people that either have properties for sale or the people that are going to buy those properties, right? That's one thing I want to make sure I, um, I bring some clarity on, right? Because a lot of times people look at this business, and I'll be honest, well, the way I feel like people take it as a game. I feel like people just look at this as a way to get in to earn some quick side money. And I'm like, okay, if that's how you're gonna do it, then okay. But if that's what you're doing, get out of the way of the people that's really doing this, right? Get out of the way of the people that's really doing this, and the people that's this is what they really do to eat. This is what they really do to feed their family. Get out of the way of those people that are actually making this thing happen on a daily basis. If this is just a side hustle for you, you only come in to make a couple dollars, or you come in with the intention of thinking that you can get rich quick. Okay, however you decide you want to flow with that, do your thing. But what I say to that is the difference in a side hustle or something that you do as a hobby is not something that you will be looking for to feed you and your family long term, right? And some people get in and they see because they see all the people that flash the checks. They show the people that have the fancy cars that they've got a $10,000 check, and they wouldn't put down $2,000 on this $40,000 car that they really can't afford, and that car note is $900 or $1,000, and you say that these are the people that's doing it. Okay, let's say that that's the case. They show you the car. They got the nice car, $40,000 car. They put $2,000 or $3,000, maybe $4,000 down on it. Depending on what your credit is, you got to put a certain amount down. And these people show you their fancy gadgets, right? And many people, in the way that I see things happening, get excited over these people that have closed one or two deals, bought a car, rented an Airbnb, and I'm not hating, do what you do, right? But I just want to, the thing that I have the biggest issue with is people who don't pay attention to what real business is, right? Real business is, there's this thing people want to say, let me see your receipts, right? Let me see your receipts of what you've done, right? And for what I'm seeing, you're only as good to many of these folks as good as the last couple of deals that you've done. And okay, you want to know somebody that's actually doing this as someone that can show you how to do it, someone that's actually doing it, right? Okay, I get it. And that's fair. Um, but what I say, compare the people that can show you a couple of checks to the people who can actually show you net worth. There's a difference, right? There's net worth, and then there's the couple of checks that they've gotten, right? How many properties do these people that you're saying are now the gurus, how many properties do they own? How many properties have they ever owned? How much business have they ever done, right? You see what I mean? So it's a difference. It's a difference. And again, I'm not hating, but I see so many people be misled by what's now becoming the shiny object syndrome. You've heard of that before. You see people, they got some new shiny objects, and these are the people that you want to follow, right? No proven track record. They just show that they got a couple checks over maybe 2 years. Okay, now let me keep it all the way real. Let me keep it all the way real. Back before the market crash, I made tons and tons and tons and tons of money before the market crash. You want to know why it was that simple? around that time. And again, I'm just keeping it all the way real because it was like the gold rush. It was like the gold rush. When it was good, it was good. And then we got all the way in and we got as much money as we could as quickly as we possibly can. And we rode that wave, right? Which is cool. But for me at that time, even though I was doing extremely well, I didn't have people signing up for a class to come work with me. I wasn't selling a course. Yes, people were working with me based on the experience that I had from what I had accomplished at that time. I was helping some people and I was educating some people, but I didn't have people signing up for a class. I didn't have a $5.99 or a $9.97 course. I didn't have a $2.99 course of some videos that you can watch and a book that you can read and go and try and figure it out. I didn't have that kind of course at the time, even though I was doing extremely well, right? But you have people now that'll close a few deals and they'll become a guru overnight. They'll be an educator in 2 years. They'll be an educator in 3 years. And I'm not saying, if you learn something, if you can do a thing, you can teach a thing. I completely, I give you that. I'm 100% with that. If you can do a thing, you can teach a thing. But I have to ask the question, is doing a thing a couple times actually doing it? Is there any consistency that can be created behind actually doing it a couple times? What's the consistency that comes with that? Right? That's the question that I ask. Right? Again, I'm not taking anything away from anybody. If you can do it, if you know enough about what you're doing to help people, go ahead. Right? But I say to those folks who are following these people, be mindful of what they're doing or what they have done or what their true proven track record is, right? Because a lot of times, again, these are folks who are just getting into the game, close a couple deals, and now they're wanting to show you how to do it. What has their experience been? What has their, and again, I'm not coming for anybody, right? So don't come for me, but if you want to, you can try. But what I'm saying is, what has their true experience been? See, for me, back when I was doing well and I was helping people, and I'm talking pre-market crash, I was helping people do business in real estate. I was helping people make a lot of money in real estate, right? Um, but all the while, I was making a lot of mistakes. I couldn't really teach them through the mistakes because the mistakes that were being made with me. So as I was making mistakes, they were suffering through with me with the mistakes that I was making because I was still learning, right? But I didn't have even people giving up money for me to teach them. We worked through those mistakes and we made it through those mistakes, right? I made a ton of mistakes. I still made a ton of money. But as a result of the mistakes that I made at the time, it gave me experience. It gave me experience. Then you have a market crash. You have a market crash that then gave me new experience. What was the new experience? What do you do in a market crash? What do you do when the market changes? What do you do when the market shifts? What do you do? These are the new experiences that I was able to develop. What happens now, right? I made it through that. Now, did I continue to invest during the market crash? No, because I did like most people did at the time. I tucked my tail between my legs and I ran, right? I thought it was the best thing to do at the time, but little did I know, and this is where my inexperience kicked in. This is when my inexperience kicked in. My inexperience said that I don't know what to do when something like this happens. So guess what? I didn't do anything, right? So that's where the experience then began to kick in because what I also realized is that I had an opportunity to hire a mentor. I had an opportunity to hire a mentor, but he told me to give him $5,000 and meet him for lunch. And me and my, I guess I'll call it at the time, egotistical ignorance, Don't know where the phrase came from. I just made it up. So if you want it, you can use it. My egotistical ignorance said that I didn't need somebody to teach me because I had made a lot of money. However, however, even though I made a lot of money, I didn't have a lot of real world in the trenches experience at the time. And what I suffered was not knowing what to do when the market crashed. That's what happened. That's what I suffered. I suffered having cash and not having cash flow. Some people will get that in a minute. I suffered having cash, but not having cash flow. And I didn't know how to create cash flow based on what I knew at the time. And that was an unfortunate situation for me because when the cash that I had ran out, I had no continuous cash flow, right? I had that, I came in the game, buy, fix, sell, buy, fix, sell, buy, fix, sell. And I'm going to sell everything. And I sold everything. And that's exactly what I did. I bought, fixed, and sold everything. And when I sold everything, I had nothing, I had no more assets, right? I had no more assets because I depleted all my assets. And then what I tried to do is I had the money, um, I had the money to continue to invest, but I didn't continue to invest. That was the biggest mistake that I made, right? So now that I know better through my experience and through the situations that I faced during those times, now I can be an educator because I have real world in the trenches experience, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Again, and I'm only pointing these things out because what I'm seeing happen is people who don't have real world in the trenches experience attempt to educate people, and they're leading them down the wrong path. They're leading them down what I'm starting to see is a road to destruction. Now, a road to destruction. Now, why, Glenn? Why are you talking about as doom and gloom? Well, where is this the road to destruction, and it's fire and brimstone coming from? The writing is on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we're starting to see how different states and different different legislations are being made to well, I'll say monitor, but I'll say to limit the way we're able to do the business of real estate investing or the business, the wholesaling aspect of real estate investing, right? Because so many different things have been imposed. Right now, you can't call people more than a couple times in the city of Atlanta, or you'll be fined, and then you'll potentially be thrown in jail, right? All of these things can happen now. Why? Because people are being taught the wrong way to reach out to people. People aren't being taught how to communicate with people when they reach out to them and how to build rapport. So people aren't being taught these things first. So they're just doing this run and gun type of way of doing business, and it's causing problems. It's causing problems in the way that we have business, we're able to do business. And the problems that are being caused is that you have to be mindful of the things that you do. You have to tiptoe around things because if you don't, you're going to step on a landmine and you're going to end up in court. Or worse, Atlanta said they'll put you in jail. They said you'll put you in jail if you continue to reach out to people more than a couple times over a certain amount of time. Right. So these are the things that we have to be mindful of. We got a couple places that say you have to have a license to be a wholesaler. Like I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't understand. Somebody has figured that out. Help me understand why where does that make sense at that you have to have a license to be a wholesaler? Uh, and not jail for making a phone call, but that is what's coming. That's what's happening. That's what's happening in the city of Atlanta. Not jail for making a phone call. Yeah, that's crazy. Um, but it's because so many people are being misled. Okay, let me give you some real world examples. I don't want to put anybody on blast, so I don't want to pull up the Facebook post. But I was in a group. I've been I won't say, I'll say trolling, I guess, if you will, a couple of different Facebook groups, just to see what to, because again, this is part of my study and my learning. I go into these different Facebook groups, and there was a question that was asked about dealing with real estate agents. And of course, the resounding response that this person had about dealing with real estate agents, the resounding response was, if you're wholesaling, you should never deal with real estate agents. You should never deal with real estate agents if you're a wholesaler. I thought that was crazy. Like, how do you function? I mean, it's possible. You can, but why limit the possibility of being able to do bigger business if you say you're going to close off one real aspect of the real estate investing business? And that's dealing with real estate agents, right? Yes, it's true. Not all of them are familiar with wholesaling. Not all of them familiar with how wholesaling transactions work. I get it. But that doesn't mean they can't learn. Some of them don't want to learn. Okay, I get that argument as well. Some of them don't want to learn. Okay, but some of them are willing to know how they can not only make more money for themselves, but also service their clients and another different area of real estate that they don't know much about, right? For example, I have a real estate agent that I work with in, this is also interesting. I have a real estate agent that I work with in Michigan, right? And shout out to my man Ali. If you get a chance to see this, Ali, and he won't be mad, I don't think, if I say this. He doesn't know a whole lot about investing. He's been a traditional real estate investor. I'm sorry, a traditional real estate agent for years. Traditional from the way of a seller wants to sell their house. A buyer who's going to move into their primary residence wants to buy the house. He puts those transactions together. That's a traditional transaction. When we came on and we started working together, and I started making offers, and he would tell me, interestingly enough, the buyer's not going to take that, or the seller's not going to accept that. I said, wait, what? What do you mean the seller's not going to accept that? And he said, well, that's not what I do, or that's not what they'll do. So he wasn't really sure, or he never experienced the type of offers that I was making, right? And the offers weren't lowball offers. Some of them were just, creative in a sense. Seller financing, seller carryback. Some of you guys will know what that is. If you don't know, ask me. I'm okay with sharing. Carryback mortgages, like he never dealt with anybody to ask these types of questions, to ask for these types of uh, things when purchasing a property. He never dealt with anybody like that before. So he didn't realize that this is something that if you ask the seller, in some cases, they'll accept it. So to date, we've done almost 10 transactions together. We've only been working together for a few months. Well, I'd say about 7 or 8 months now. And I'll say 95% of the offers that I've had him present, 97% of the offers that I've had him present for me have been accepted. Now, verbally accepted. We haven't written everything up. And I say 97% because some of the people, I guess, after they thought about it or they talked to someone else about it that was confused about the way that I was doing business, they talked them out of it. For example, there was a couple who was divorcing, and they were only going to get a certain amount of money for the property that they were selling. And I made them an offer to give them that exact amount of money, but I would take over the payments over time. They were initially excited about it. They was like, great, we'll do it. We get our money. We don't have to deal with anything. It's an easy closing. We're out. They talked to another third party. I think it was their parents or somebody, about doing a transaction like that. They talked them out of it. So we didn't do that deal. Okay. But the point that I want to get back to is where these people are being told not to deal with real estate agents. They're missing a significant part of a way that you can do business, even as a wholesaler. right? Now, here's another big thing that caught me is they were telling people. Now, one reason why they said not to use a real estate agent is because real estate agents ask for proof of funds. And I'm like, okay, real estate agents are not the only people who ask for proof of funds. So if that's a main reason why you're telling people not to deal with real estate agents, then you might as well tell them not to get into business then, because lots of people are asking for proof of funds now. Like lots of investors that are selling property are asking for proof of funds. So even if I'm a seller and my property, I have an off-market property, because typically people are looking for off-market and they're looking for absentee owners, they're looking for vacants. I have a few properties that are like that. So I'm an absentee owner, the property is vacant. So you may actually call me up and say, I want to buy your property. I'm not a real estate agent, but I may ask you for a proof of funds letter. So how are you teaching them to avoid interacting with someone who's an investor that would potentially ask them for a proof of funds letter? How do you evade that? Here's what the answer was, ladies and gentlemen. Go online and buy a proof of funds letter. Man, I wish somebody would talk to me. I wish somebody would talk to me, because it's so interesting that these are the things that are being taught. Like, this is a group I'm in, and I'm reading these comments, and I won't say what group it is because they'll probably kick me out if they see this video. But in this group, they're being told to go and buy a proof of funds letter. There is an actual website. I didn't go to the website. I'll be honest, but there's an actual website. I think it's maybe a private lender or private money lender, I don't know, where you can actually go and purchase a proof of funds letter. I said, wait a minute, this can't be right. So I Googled it. I Googled buying proof of funds letter. And guess what? You can buy, I want y'all to hear this. Walil, yes, this is real, bro. This is real. Walil says, no, this is real. This is actually happening. Um, you can actually Google buy a proof of funds letter. And what I found is you can buy a proof of funds letter on Fiverr for $10. They are selling proof of funds letters on Fiverr, Fiverr.com. You can go on Fiverr and buy a proof of funds letter. So I say to myself, I said self, myself said, huh? If the purpose of getting a proof of funds letter is to prove that you have funds, why would you intentionally, on purpose, get a document that's falsified? Again, the question then becomes like, what kind of reputation are you building on that? What type of business are you building on these types of we'll call them discrepancies. I'm gonna use the word discrepancy. What kind of business are you building? What kind of reputation are you intending on building? Right? What type of relationships what the type of relationships do you think you're going to consistently hold when leading with lies as a wholesaler, as a business person? Like, I guess that's the thing. Like, most people that, a lot of these people that look at wholesaling, they don't treat it as a business. So that's probably the biggest difference. That's probably the issue. They don't treat it as a business. So they figure it's okay to lie because they're only there to get a couple checks anyway. And that's the issue. I think people are only looking at, okay, give me a couple fat checks. This is a side hustle. I'll come in and, I'll roll out after I give me a couple checks. Go buy me a car, pay off some debt, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm finding, is that people are not treating this like a business. They're treating this like a side hustle. And it's okay if it's a side hustle for you. Again, I'm not taking that away from you. It's okay if it's a side hustle for you. I mean, listen, for you, that's fine. But this, for me, has been something that I've been living and breathing for the last 24, almost 24 years, right? This is what I do, right? I don't know how to do crypto, y'all. I don't know how to do that. I tried, I got a little, Bitcoin stuff going on. Um, that's currently my side hustle. Bitcoin is a side hustle, and it ain't that huge of a side hustle because my focus is on this. Um, what's good, Dowden? So I'm just like, why is it that people are? But this is the biggest issue I have. People sometimes look at wholesaling and fixing and flipping as side hustles, and that's fine. Again, I want to say I'm good with that. If it's a side hustle for you, that's okay. But I want you to realize what happens in the situation where those of us who live, eat, and breathe this have to deal with the regulations that are being imposed upon us as a result of these side hustle people coming in and treating this just like it is for them, a side hustle that they don't have any integrity for, right? It's me and quite a few people that I know that are in this business that this is what we do. This is how we eat. This is how we feed our family. And you think about it. If somebody comes in, I'll use the hood analogy. Some people will get it, some people won't. I use a hood analogy. Like growing up in the hood, if the homeboys are standing on the block and you bring attention to the block, you making the block hot. You making the block hot with your not knowing how to do what you do. Right? If you don't know how to do what you do, you're making the block hot. So that's what a lot of these cats that I feel is coming into this game. They don't know what they do, don't know how to do what they're doing. They're making the block hot. You see wholesaling and fixing flip is aside. What's up, brother Tim Harvey? Hey, yes, I agree. I agree. Some people look at it as a side hustle. And again, I'm okay with that. I'm good with that if it's a side hustle. But at least have some integrity about how you're doing your side hustle, right? Don't be looking at ways to do it. Like this is a simple business. I want to make sure I clarify this, and I believe you agree with me, Tim, when I say this. This is a simple business. It's so simple. It's the people that do the wrong thing that make it complicated, right? It's the people that do the things the way they do things that make it complicated, and then that can be said about just about anything. But I look at it like this: is if you let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna see if I can bring my man Tim in over here. Y'all might not be able to see him if you'll jump on with me. But if you do this business right, if you do it right, you will have some consistency in your side hustle, right? However long you want to do a side hustle, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. If you do it right, you will consistently see income come in from it, right? But if you do it wrong on purpose, you're going to get yourself in a situation where you present a document that's falsified to someone, and that could cause a whole bunch of issues for you, right? Who don't know? Okay, we'll say somebody gives you a proof of funds letter from a bank, and the people call up and they verify this letter, and the bank says no. The bank might, and I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit over dramatic here. The bank says, okay, these people have falsified documents with our letterhead on it, so we're coming after the person who has this document. So now you're in trouble. What up, though? Reach Out Houses. I don't know who that is. Oh, that's my man. I can't see. Chris. I think that's Chris. But yeah, it's people that can get in trouble. All right, we got my man Tim that's gonna jump in with me. It's people that can potentially get in trouble for these documents that are being falsified. And it's people telling people to go buy proof of funds letter. What's up, brother Harvey?
What's up, big dog? What's going on?
What's happening? What's happening, man? Listen,
Right.
I'm live. I'm live in a few different places, man. But thank you for jumping in with me, bro. I'm just trying to find out what's going on with the folks that's telling these people to do business wrong, man.
Look, dude. Look, I mean, it comes across in every sector, man. Not just with the wholesaling. I see it in the fixing and flipping. I also see it like on the, like with the end time. People doing cash back, illegal cash backs.
Yeah.
Which is alerting the police. Per se. I remember back in 2007, 2008. I remember when people were doing all that cash back, illegally.
Now,
And
there was a way back then that you could do it legally.
the people were doing it illegally.
It was people that was doing it illegally.
Exactly. And I know, like a lot of people saw, like they saw the fixing flipping, they saw the wholesaling,
Yeah.
they saw that as, side hustles. And, I'm just, like we just have to understand, like in business, whenever something becomes very lucrative, you're gonna get some bad fish in that thing. I laugh at those letters now, man, because I know, like a lot of people, see it, and I'm like, how does anybody believe those things? How does anybody believe those things? But yeah, it's a funny thing, man. When people when people are actually advertising, that they go buy a letter from the website so that you can show that you can have a proof of funds. Whatever happened to you partnering with somebody that actually does have money, or you partnering with somebody that actually does have money, or you talking to that seller, talking to that seller about being creative. I mean, whatever happened to that?
Right.
Asking that seller, going back and asking that seller, well, hey, where did you get this idea of proof of funds?
Yeah.
And what do you think? Like, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
What about that? What about partnering with, just being honest with the people and saying, look, I plan on wholesaling this house. I've got partners that actually buy from me, and we've got a huge network. So whatever happened to that, just being honest. We teach our partners. I teach my employees. I teach them to be honest. When talking to sellers on the phone, it's like, hey, this is what it is. This is just what, like you said earlier, this is one of our exit strategies. We have partners that buy from us. We have partners that fund our deals for us. And just being honest about it. You've got to bring integrity back into business, and not necessarily do business with those that do not have integrity.
Real stuff. You said something. I answered the question. Somebody asked in the group, Glen, how do you get a proof of funds letter ethically? And I'm like, okay, it's interesting that question has to be asked, but
Right.
but the same, I asked the same thing that you said. I said it's several ways. I said you can partner with someone, someone who has the funds that can prove it, and get them to give you their proof of funds to present to the seller, right? And this is like, and this is where there are people trying to avoid working with real estate agents because they're afraid to be asked for the proof of funds letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you can ethically partner with someone, right? 10%, 50%, 30% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
That's right.
Right. So I said the other thing is, if you don't have a partner that you can pick up the phone and call and connect with, we have tools such as the internet, such as Facebook, such as IG, all of these platforms that you can put a post in a group and say, hey, listen, I'm looking at picking up off-market properties. I'm looking at creating win-win situations with people. Are there any people that are now investing that have funds, a current proof of funds letter that you can prove your funds, and I'll put you on my exclusive list to do business with you?
Right.
I'm like,
why not?
Why not? Why, like, so many people now that are looking for deals that don't want to get out and do the hard legwork themselves would be open to partnering with you. So instead of risking your integrity, instead of risking your reputation and buying a false proof of funds letter just so you can make the whole amount of the money, I'm like, it's better to partner with people.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and not only that, you can also, like when it comes to partnering, you can kind of glean from another person's experience,
Yes.
and what they're doing. You just never know, what it is that what you're getting when you partner with somebody. You're not just getting, that thing that you need, but you're creating a win-win situation for everybody. And not only that is, you glean from whatever experience they have, in their realm. So, if
Absolutely.
you can partner with somebody that that has that, the proof of funds, blah blah blah, then apparently they have an experience somewhere.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
it's just it's always a good thing. I never fully understood those letters. I never fully understood why anybody would believe those letters.
Right.
The other part to that is like, like when you're dealing with the real estate agent, why not just be honest with the real estate agent? Because what's going to happen if you're honest with that real estate agent, like there's already tension in the air.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
already tension in the air between you and the agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of telling that agent falsely, about what you're trying to do, just tell them what you're working to do.
Absolutely.
And if you tell them, then they'll see you as an asset.
Definitely.
And they'll see you as an asset, and you guys can work together, and you can begin to really build a relationship with somebody that needs you and you need them.
Definitely.
Because listen, as we're making our calls, in our businesses, listen, we've got discarded leads that agents can use.
Yes.
They've got leads that we can use. So it can be a win-win situation, for everybody if we're honest with each other. A lot of agents don't necessarily have the understanding of what it is that we do.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes
Mm-hmm.
is a good, integral person to explain it, and then prove it by doing a good deal. And everybody makes money. All of a sudden, you got somebody that advocates wholesaling for life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I agree. I agree with what you're saying, bro.
We have I think it's Chris. Chris says Richard Hauser says they're not using the letters no more. They've stopped up to the Wells Fargo's bank statements. It's a sample, and folks,
Yeah.
let's see, folks with it put their company name on it.
Copy and paste stuff. I don't really know how they do it.
Wow.
How do they get away with that stuff? I don't know how people are looking at that. Like if a seller asks you, and I can understand when the agent asks you this information,
Mm-hmm.
but if because that's what they're trying to do. But if a seller asks you for that information, then you should really take pause with that seller and really try to find out what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sellers are not trained, to ask for proof of funds letter.
Right.
Obviously, they've been screwed, or something bad has happened, and that's an opportunity for you to actually build more into the relationship with the seller and build more rapport. You should like that should be like a red flag, and you should be like, whoa, what's going on? And when you do that, then that's an opportunity for them to tell you the story on what's going on instead of just be like, I froze that. I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready. So I gotta go get ready. No. Talk to that seller and find out what's going on because obviously something has happened to make them have to ask for that. Sellers aren't trained for that. It's only agents.
Now here's the thing. That they may run into, right? This is what and I'm looking at, and I'm playing devil's advocate, for some of these people who may run into these situations. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an investor. I'm an absentee owner, right? I have properties that of course, I don't live in. Some of them are vacant because they need work, this, that, and the other. So I would potentially fall into one of those categories or be on one of those lists that people call. Well, probably not because it's in an LLC, so people stop at the LLC and they usually don't go beyond that. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Well. See, we know how to do that. We know how to do that. Some people won't go beyond that, but the ones that will, and they actually find that person to contact and have the conversation with, like for me, I would probably ask for a proof of funds letter just to see what your response is, right? I want to hear. I want to see if you're going to attempt to tell me that you're gonna get one, or you'll send one right over. You know, I
Right,
mean, I know some people that I'm dealing with. Sometimes you know who you're dealing with when you're having a conversation.
right.
Like I've had a like we shout out to the grind
Grind
guy.
out.
He said we still call
We still call
LLCs. We
LLCs.
do as well. Like I teach them how to find that
Right,
information. So when you get a situation like that, then that person would say, you know, so for example, if I were to say, send me a proof of funds letter, these people, if you're going to attempt to send somebody like myself, or somebody like the grind guy or Tim, you guys do what you do, a false proof of funds letter, um, it's not going to end well for you.
well, honestly, like even with that being said, that's an opportunity to really kind of teach that wholesaler and teach that person, that's got that, that fake letter, whatever it is, it's an opportunity because listen, at the end of the day, I think you've got to work to see everybody as an asset, or a
Yes,
potential asset to you. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? So, from a standpoint of, this is an opportunity, maybe you don't know, maybe this is how you train because,
Hmm.
like you said, I mean, you can easily go on a Facebook group and somebody tell you, hey, just go ahead and do it like this. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know that it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't know that. So we like if that's the case, then I think we can kind of use those as like teachable moments
Absolutely.
to those people and work to help them out. But I just really believe that when a seller asks you for a proof of funds letter, that should be a pause and it should be a red flag that you need to go back and build some more rapport with that seller,
Absolutely.
find out what's going on, find out where they've been screwed before by another person, and build that rapport and eventually get the deal. So
Real
so
stuff.
and that's what I train my employees to do. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
And see that's what you're talking about is 110% absolutely correct, because you're speaking from experience. You speaking
right.
from a person who's done this, who's been doing this for some time. This is the other side of this is actually the third point of what I want to make as it relates to the miseducation of wholesalers.
Mm-hmm.
We have, like, in the same group, again, I'm not gonna call the group out, in the same group is telling people, don't pay for a course, don't pay for mentorship, don't pay anybody to teach you anything, but do
Yeah,
it the wrong way.
right.
Right. And I say this, I'm gonna keep it 100. For the first 15 years of me doing real estate, I never intentionally paid for a coach. I never paid for a mentor. Like
Right.
I've had people that I've watched and followed and listened to and things like that. I was member of RIAs and things like that. Um, and I never paid intentionally for coaching.
You
But
know what, Glenn?
say it again.
You know why?
Why? Why you said that?
You know why we never felt comfortable with that?
What? Tell me.
I'm gonna tell you why I never felt
Okay. Tell me why you never felt comfortable.
because they weren't even thinking about me in those reels.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I was, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And in those reels, let's just keep it real.
We gonna say what it is.
Let's keep it all the way funky. Like in those reels, man. Like I never felt comfortable with it because I knew they didn't care about me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I knew that they were looking at me with the side eye just for being in the reel. Like what are you doing here? What are you this
Listen,
like what are you doing in here?
we
You
stream
know?
we stream it. Okay, we're streaming on a couple different platforms. I hope y'all can hear
I
him.
ain't talking about the new I ain't talking about the new ones because we got big friends.
Yeah.
Somebody newbies,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I got good friends, So,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
talking about them old school reels that me and you grind out work
Yes.
out of.
Yes.
You
Yes.
understand
Yes.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm trying to.
that's why we shun that education. That's why.
I got Ramon, and I got the grind guy on here.
What Ramona?
I don't know. I don't know how to bring them in, man. Look.
Let me see. Can we bring them on?
I don't know. I'm trying to. Um,
I know you can. I know you can bring a couple of people on at the same time. Bring
oh,
like
okay,
4 or 5.
okay. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on, hold on. Let me see. I think I figured it out. Uh, Let's see.
We gonna keep it funky today, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let me see. I got the grind guy.
What's up, man?
There we go. What's happening? What's happening?
What's going on, man? What's
Hey.
going on?
Hey man, I like when you talk about performing. It is key because you ain't even really gotta talk about like real stuff, bro. Like if they talking about proof of funds, if they talking about a proof of funds letter, you ain't built no rapport yet.
You need to be talking. If the seller starts talking about proof of funds, you need to be talking with someone or someone coaching you that has experience.
Come on, bro.
Question.
Come on, bro.
Yes.
You're gonna get yourself in trouble.
What? How about this though? How about this? There's in this group, and I'm not just picking on this group because I've seen it in several different places. What you all are talking about exactly, and I hope y'all over here can hear them because we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on a few different places. I hope y'all can hear these guys. These folks are telling people don't pay people to teach you, right? And I'm like, okay, I get it. For the first, like I said, for the first 15 years, I didn't pay anybody to teach me, but it was during a time, you know, when we talk about pre-market crash, bro. I mean, it was gravy, right? It was the gold rush, so I was pretty much making money on accident.
Making money anyway, right?
I was making money anyway, but here's the difference though. If I was intentional about my education, I would have been able to consistently make that money, even during the crash.
Glenn, we could not be intentional about our education because of who the educators were.
Well, yeah. Well, see, let me just keep it 100 though. The first person that offered to mentor me was a black guy.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Kevin McQuay. I'll say his name. Kevin McQuay said, and this is what he said to me. At the time, I didn't get it. I couldn't appreciate it. Kevin McQuay said, meet me for lunch and bring me a check for $5,000. I was like, hold on, wait, what? What you say?
You're only gonna have 5 to 10 minutes of his time. He's still taking phone calls.
And he eating and everything. I'm like, nah, bro.
It's like Yoda ain't got the 2 or 3 things to say.
And listen, I'm gonna tell you.
Investing yourself to help you become better. Like when you get a mentor or a coach, that's just helping you get to where they are without making the mistakes, the costly mistakes that they've made.
So today, with knowing what I know now, if I had known a little bit more at the time, I would have gave Kevin McQuay $10,000 and bought his lunch. Because if you know Kevin McQuay is a GOAT, bro. Like, you know, to keep it all the way real. He's a quiet dude. He's an older dude. He's an older gentleman. He's quiet and he's killing it. He's killing it. And if I had known then, like, I couldn't appreciate Kevin at the time because I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, right? I was a young cat. I'm making the same money he making just about. What I need him for, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, Kevin had experience. You see, and I could not appreciate. I could not appreciate the experience. So when the time came, when that market crashed, I was like, yo, if I gave Kevin that $5,000, I'd have been able to stay in the game.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I wasn't able to because I lost the money. Lil said $5K though. Yeah, I'm telling you. Listen, if you know this dude Kevin, and I got to pick up the phone and call Kevin today. If you know him, even at the time, $5K was a regular price, right? I said it was a regular price. Like people were charging, $300 to, for a 30-minute consultation, $500 for a 30-minute consultation. Kevin knew what he had. Kevin was like, yo, you bring me $5,000 and we'll have lunch and I'll teach you the game. And I'm trying to figure out in my mind, like, how in the world in an hour, because that's all you're going to give me, am I going to be able to know everything I need to know about real estate in an hour for $5,000? Right. And what I began to understand after the crash, because I caught up with Kevin after the crash. I never told him about this though, by the way. I caught up with him after. I started going to the RIAs again after the crash to stay acclimated and stay close to the game. And just listening to him, what people don't realize, like I get five, and I'm gonna just keep this all the way 100. Y'all my friends. Y'all like my family. I get $5,000 worth of nuggets from y'all every day.
I was gonna ask you this. So was Kevin, was he part of the RIA?
He was part of the RIA, yeah.
Okay, was he actively like selling his services within the RIA?
So what the RIA had did, we can say what RIA, Georgia RIA, what the RIA had did, it is what it is. Georgia RIA had set it up so that different people could mentor the people that were coming to the events. Right now, I don't know if they put a regulation on how much they could charge, but they was like, okay, we got coaches. You connect with these coaches. They'll, you pay them and they'll teach you. Right. And I was like, okay, I'm about to rock with the coach. And then, me at the time, I'm gonna rock with who I know and who I think I can connect with. Kevin was like, yep, $5,000. Come on, let's do it. I'm like, what? And let me keep it real. I had it. I had the $5,000 was peanuts to me at the time. I had it, right? I was like, okay, let me call you. I had the money, but it's just I didn't see the value in what he was offering me at the time. You see what I mean? Yeah. Like to this day, I can pick up Kevin and ask him a question, and he'll rock with me now because he knows that I have the experience. But at the time, he didn't see that.
He can sacrifice his time.
Right, and that's the thing. He valued his time, and he valued the information that he had at that time. Now I'm a peer technically now. You know what I mean? I wasn't a peer then, so I couldn't be somebody who trying to figure this thing out. Even though I made a lot of money, I still didn't know what I was doing. I mean, just call it what it is. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing. I made a lot of money making mistakes, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got rich on accident. I'm just keeping 100.
It was more like the hustle for me. Like, my background's a little, I'm not gonna say who does what, but to get out here and make money, wholesaling houses. Well, at the time we called it flipping. Wholesaling is like a new term.
Yeah,
that's a new term.
It is.
I just remember flipping. I remember brown paper bags.
Bruh, like I tell that story, people think I make that up. In a brown paper bag. Like people think I make that stuff up, bruh. Like you figure
so it's a little different, but to answer your point about mentorship, you're paying someone for the time and the amount of money is what it's worth. If you want to pay somebody $300, then you're gonna get a $300 education.
Man.
Pay somebody $10,000, you're gonna get $10,000.
Come on, man.
That's what it should be. So make sure you vet.
That's what it should be.
That's what it should be. Make sure you vet everybody that you associate yourself with, and make sure they're currently investing in real estate right now.
Yeah.
Not a long time ago.
Well, here's what I also say. The amount that you invest should be equal to the result that you're expecting to get.
Most definitely.
You see what I mean?
You'll rather go to your school, you'll go to your college, you're gonna get $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 to be a doctorate or
exactly. And that's the thing, like to measure, you can't. So the way, and the way I look at it, because I do mentoring and I do coaching, and my investment is significant, but I look at the result that I'm helping you get is over your lifetime, right? If you pay me $300, I'm gonna show you how to close a deal. That's all I got for you. But if you pay the investment that I'm required that you pay, I'm gonna show you how to make money for the rest of your life. I'm gonna teach you how to teach your kids how to make money in this business. And your kids' kids will be able to make money in this business based on the things that I'm gonna show you how to do. You see what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's the fundamentals. Like, yeah, things change as far as the tools that we use, but the basics of what we do are everlasting.
You still work the basics. You can take all. Listen, I'm not even a systems guy. Just recently, we started doing a lot of systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I like being in the field. I was telling Tim this. I told Tim and Willis, I like being in the field. like being out in the field. I like going to look at the house. I like walking through vacant properties. That's what I like to do. I've been doing it for so long.
Because you're the grind guy, bro. That's a name you earned that name on purpose by accident, but on purpose because you do what you do.
But the because I know the basics and they work. What happens with technology and the internet now, and you can't do this and can't do that. So all those people that use the systems, if somehow something just happens with the internet or with your phones or whatever, they don't know how to close it.
And that is the other difference. That's the other difference. So for me, you see, this is how I grind now, bro. I would just keep it real. This is me grinding.
You know what? When I really got the value of systems, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, I really got that value of systems right when the pandemic started. That's when
the
value of systems really came into my sphere. And we really began to truly develop our system. So I understand what you're saying, man. Those habits are tough to break. You know what I'm saying? They're tough to break. But then there's also a sense of what you love doing. You know what I'm saying? There's also a sense of what you love doing. And what you love doing is what you love doing. You know, this is
it's not work. It's not work if you love doing it.
Exactly.
Real stuff. And I want to make sure. Can you say that one more time? I want to make sure because we stream at a few different places. I want to make sure everybody heard what you just said. Can you say that one more time?
If you enjoy what you're doing, it's not work.
Real stuff. Real stuff.
I'm not here having fun. I can call Glen and Ken and say, "Hey fellas, I'm out of the field, man. Y'all want to meet up for lunch somewhere? Let's go have some lunch somewhere and talk about real estate, or just talk about life." And we pull up to some restaurant or whatever, and go sit down and have some meat.
Real stuff.
Because I put the work. Me, Will, and Glen have put the work in.
Right.
Me, Tim, and Glen have put the work in. So because we put the work in right now, we can do what we want to do on our side. And that's the systems like Tim was getting to.
Yeah.
We don't have to be.
Make it easier.
We don't have to change. Now I'm not against the systems. I know this right. I don't want nobody to feel like, well, why is he against systems? I'm not against systems. I love systems because they acquire you not to be hands-on all the time. You're only hands-on when you're dealing with somebody that's motivated and you're ready to make a move or pull a trigger.
Real stuff. Real stuff. And that's the difference, man. I think that sets the experienced people apart. And this is, again, I want to make sure people get where we are, right? I just want to kind of, how they say in the clubhouse, I want to reset the room. We're talking about the miseducation of wholesalers, right? And I would venture to even say the miseducation of people that want to get into the business of real estate altogether. There's so many different things, or different ways that people are leading people into doing things, right? There is no silver bullet, right? There is no silver bullet. There is no what Jim Rohn says, there are no new fundamentals. There are no new antiques, right? You can't manufacture antiques, right? So the way of doing the business is the way of doing the business. It's just the systems that we're talking about that, Tim and I mostly implement. John implements some as well, but his way of doing business is a little different from our way of doing business, right? Hey, listen, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'll be 50 in 2 years. I'm not trying to run around and look at houses. That's not what I'm trying to do. I mean, that's just not what I'm trying to do no more. I'm not trying to climb through windows and all that.
Again, I'm having fun when I'm doing it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I respect what you do, bro, because you doing stuff out in the field that I see, and I'm like, it'll be fun if I do that. But then I have to remind myself, like, do you really want to do that? Like, and the thing is,
I found my best deals though, Glen. Even with systems right now, I still find my best deals being in the field.
I respect that. I respect that. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
With systems, we had systems for like 2 years now. The best deals I found is being in.
Yeah, look what my man will say. Well, he'll say, yeah, I'm 51 and I slowed down a lot after 23 years. I'm like, yo, man, I'm 23 years in, man. I shouldn't be working this hard. At least that's what my mind tells me. I should be patterning myself to slow down and not necessarily chill, but have the systems in place that can work the things that are working. You see what I mean? Like John said something. Here's my one other thing real quick. I want to make this point. John said, make sure the people that are educating you are actually doing the business, right? And one thing I see a lot of these people, and y'all tell me about this if y'all see this. A lot of people are following people that are doing the business today, right? Today, they're following the people that are doing the business today. So we'll say Timmy, not Timmy. We'll say Johnny, Billy, and Jimmy have gotten some checks in the last 6 months. They got a couple checks in the last 6 months, right? So they're closing deals, in the last 6 months, right? And they got all the new, shiny objects that the people that are following them that want to see. And these are the people that they look to to be their educators.
Hey man, again, and I'm not knocking anybody that's new, but if you haven't been through a storm, when I say storm, meaning the correction, when the correction happens,
yeah,
then you really don't know. Everything's been on the upswing. If you've been in the business the last 6, 7 years, it's been on the upswing. That's cool. I'm glad you're making money. I'm glad you're doing well. But you haven't been through the storm yet, where you cannot sell a deal, and the whole street that you're looking at houses has the sale signs in it. REO.
Oh yeah.
But everybody go back down. So how do you make money from that? How do you?
Bruh, listen.
How do you do that?
Pre-market correction. I made millions of dollars. Pre-market correction. Before the market crashed, I made millions of dollars. But I knew that I didn't feel comfortable. So I'm gonna use a phrase that I heard somebody say. My confidence wasn't there because my competence wasn't there to call myself an educator, right? Yeah, I made a lot of money, but I'm like, do I know enough to be telling people how to do this? Like, I don't even know how I did it. You see what I mean? So I won't say lucky because I did put the work in. I was in the field. I was looking at houses. I was doing all that. I was putting the work in. I was going through the motions. And, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I can't say to somebody, give me $10,000 to teach you, because I'm only figuring out what I'm doing. And I'm figuring out from the last deal that I did, how I need to do that again. And what tripped me up was the last deal was gravy, but the next deal is now different. I ain't got enough experience to show you how to figure out the next deal that I ain't never seen before. You see what I mean? But that's now, 20 years later, I've seen I ain't seen it all, but I've seen a whole lot of them. You see what I mean? So now 20 years in, I can tell you, okay, this might happen, this might happen, this might happen. That's why the name of my business is Real Life Real Estate Investing. And I'm going to tell you in real life that you're going to catch hell somewhere down the line. It's not going to always be gravy. And I think the misunderstanding, the misconception that people have is when people tell them this whole idea of getting in the business with no money and no credit, you draw all types of people, but they all have a very similar mentality. I'm going to get something for nothing, and I don't have to do anything to become a millionaire.
Well, I mean, one thing about that part, is like you got somebody that that may have nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they may not have any means to do anything, and they may be on their last leg. They may be at they might be at the one step away from from homelessness.
Right.
I do think that that it's an opportunity for some that may have nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep doing the same thing, but I think it's an opportunity at least for somebody that like you can tell them to go to Dollar General and get them a cardboard box and buy them a marker say I sell houses, got a house for sale, or something like that, and put it on the corner. It's an opportunity. So, I will say that. Some people get in it for the wrong reasons. They do. I mean, that's absolutely true. But what about the people that have gotten it out the mud? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The people that are, that are here now, that, like, if it wasn't for this is what they've been praying for.
Absolutely.
So that's, that's the fundamental thing I see. I mean, there are a lot of people that get into it for the wrong reason, and that is so true. And you see them, they kind of messing up the game.
But
then there's that one person, that they've been praying about it, and it's something that it's a God said. They see that first $5,000 check, and then
and it's legit. And it's legit money.
And it's legit.
Yeah.
You don't gotta watch the back. You know you got the check in your hand. You like, hold on, I just got a check from what?
Hey, Chris says.
I don't gotta take from nobody.
Chris over here.
Somebody in that process. I'm helping people in that process. I'm solving problems in that process.
Oh man. That right there. Okay, now listen. We of course we over time, but we got to definitely touch on that. I wanted to say my man Rich Off Houses. Chris, tell me if I'm saying that I believe that's you, Chris. He says, I dislike I made 350K and now I want to mentor you based off someone else's course and I simply put into action. Okay, so he's saying basically he disliked the people who made $300,000 and now they want to mentor you based on somebody else's course that they implement.
Yeah, man. I think we've seen
There's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on, but to your earlier point, Glenn, that could be a situation where you training somebody and you hadn't come across a situation. So how do you train that person, to do what you don't know what to do? So,
right.
Yeah. They done spent 10 grand with you.
And the thing is, what experience trumps in those situations? Like people say they want to work with people who they can see making money. Okay, cool. But what you're missing is the experience, right? Now, and I keep it 100. So I didn't make 300,000 last year. I didn't make 300,000 last year. Wait, did I? Hold on. No, I didn't. I didn't make 300,000 last year. And it's somebody that made 300,000 last year that's going to be a new coach in 2022.
Better not be. Again, if you ain't went through some type of storm, some type of something when you couldn't close it.
Man, I had a student, man, that we were
just new.
Yeah.
Showing me something.
Yeah.
And what happens if something old happens? Because technology is great for systems. We need technology.
Yeah.
You have to tap into that. But if something this would have happened and you couldn't use these systems, they run themselves, and it's gonna keep consistently growing, and we gotta tap into that because we're old school. But man, I don't feel like somebody that's new that hasn't been in the business at least 10 years should be coaching anything. That's just me. I mean, I know some people gonna say, well, I got more assets than such and such. I got more of this and more of that. But I just feel like you need to be in at least 10 years to even really be able to train someone. Well,
the reason why I will agree with that.
You're saying they need to go through a cycle.
That was the point.
Somebody has to go through some type of cycle.
That was the exact point that I was gonna make. I was gonna make that exact point. If you haven't been through a cycle, then you really don't have experience. You see what I mean?
Right.
Your experience.
Everybody's making money. People
Yeah.
doing YouTube and just making phone calls and making money off of phone calls.
Exactly. And that's the thing I tell some of my people, the people that I teach cold calling. I'm like, there is no, the magic bullet or the cheat code to cold calling is to be nice to people. Is to build a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Build rapport. You know what I'm saying? Build rapport. That's the cheat code. If you can do that, you good. Because if you do that, it don't matter what you say to them that's going to convince them to sell their house. You see what I mean?
Right.
If you consistently calling and you consistently intentionally building rapport, you ain't got to have no script. You don't have to have a script. A script is just a guideline. So I can call people up and say, yo, what's up? I want to buy your house. And if they resonating with me at that time, and the time is right for them, they'll sell. You see what I mean?
That a lot now. Just like right now, me and Tim making phone calls, and me and Tim just decide, you know what, today it's raining. I don't want to make no phone. I'm gonna chill today. And Glenn make that 999 phone call or that 1,000 phone call that we were supposed to make. You get the person on the phone, or that follow that we supposed to follow. You get them on the phone. Now you get the deal. Because man, I did speak to a John or a Tim, but I haven't heard from him. Glenn just called me. Glenn wants to make me an offer. They forgot about us.
3 feet from gold.
Man, bruh.
3 feet from gold.
Boy, you better come on. Okay, not that CP. Okay, that's Charlie. Charlie said we all learn from somebody. He said some players. Let me say this. Let me see. I want to make sure I read this right. Some players in the game for years don't make great coaches or mentors. Some players that are in the game for years don't make. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And that's and what the reason I mean I would agree with that because those coaches who are accustomed to doing things from a traditional standpoint and not have used creative ways to do things, they're probably not, I agree, the best mentors, right? Because I had a dude I'm doing a deal with in Michigan, 80 years old. He's owned properties for 40 years, right? He wouldn't be a good coach for me because although he's owned property for 40 years, his traditional way of thinking is I'm gonna pay cash for this property, put a tenant in it, and let them pay me rent.
Right.
Like,
and he's 80.
like okay.
Because it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same.
Right. And I'm not just talking about like his age. His age aside, he's only.
I'm talking about the technology piece, like how everything's changed in the last 40 years.
He's only done business one way.
Right. He's not always up there.
Yeah, he's only done business one way. He like, yo, listen, I made money off these 2 properties for the last 2 years. I'm not taking any cash out. I'm not pulling any cash out. I'm just taking the money that I made, and based on the price point of the money that I made over the properties that I own free and clear, I'm taking that cash and I'm putting it into another property that I'm going to buy that's going to create more cash flow. And the cash flow from these 3, I'm going to go buy 2 next year. And the next year I'm going to buy 4. And the next year I'm going to buy 5, just based on the cash flow that he's getting from the properties. And this is a dude who still worked for 40 years while investing. You get what I'm saying? So he still had a job. He still went to work. I mean, well, he owns his own business. He owns his own trucking company, but he still did the business for the income to invest in his real estate business. And to this day, 80 years old, he's still out changing tires on trucks.
You know what he does.
I'm like,
ain't
man.
nothing like being passionate about something, man. You can do it.
Yeah.
And nobody's bothering you. You're in your own lane. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. Real stuff. Man, listen. Hey, Brad, listen, we're gonna definitely have to bring this back. Man, happy New Year to y'all, bro. It's the 29th. It's the 29th. Listen, hope y'all had a great holiday, man. Happy New Year to y'all, man. Listen, I'm looking at being on purpose. You know, I think COVID is gonna probably pump our brakes for a little while longer. But I'm looking at intentionally on purpose being of service for 2022. You see what I mean? So I will say, John, if you need me to come out in the field with you to look at some houses, I'll do it. Tim, if you need me to go across town and look at a house for you, I'll do it. I want to intentionally on purpose be of service in some way or another. You know, not to just my colleagues, but to anybody that I can help support in doing this business that we do. As long as we do it as a business, that's the thing I'm advocating for. If we do this as a business, man, I'm down to support anybody that I can and help them maintain or even get into the business of real estate investing.
All right.
You know.
Yes, sir.
Anything y'all want to add before we jump off, man? Hey, listen. First of all, thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for chiming in with me. You know,
appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, having us on, man. We certainly appreciate it, man. I appreciate the time, man. I just want to thank God, for just giving us this opportunity to be here. I say a big shout out to my sister, Shante. She says there's a lot of entrepreneurs who use their business partner to invest. What she says is he may be a great solution to somebody's mentorship program, the 80-year-old guy. Big shout out to Shante, our sister, yeah. So that's a way to see that.
Absolutely.
In that way. But I just want to say thank you for having us, man. We certainly appreciate, everything that you're doing, man, out here in the streets, man. Real life real estate investing, man. I mean, you're certified, dude. You're certified.
Definitely certified.
Man, listen, bruh. Coming from goats, coming from real goats like y'all, man. That means the world to me, bro. That means the world to me, man. Thank y'all very much.
I appreciate you guys for even having me on, man. Because I wasn't even supposed to be on here. You and Tim was on here. I was like, what they talking about?
Hey, John, you know when he started talking about the wholesaling, man. You know we gotta get it out.
We gotta jump in there, boy. I don't like the bashing. I just want everybody to do the business the right way. I don't like to be bash wholesaling because wholesaling is what it is.
Yeah.
If I get someone a clearance right now, I just say a wholesale price.
Right. My biggest issue again is the miseducation of people.
On a good deal, like, you know what I'm saying?
people teaching people the wrong way to do this business, man. Hey, John, hold on. I don't know if I got your input on what you think about people. Did you say something about people paying for proof of funds letter? I don't know if you.
No, I said if somebody starts asking somebody that's new for proof of funds letter, you need to get back to whoever's mentoring you and tell them, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on. I built as much as rapport as I can with the seller, but now they're asking for a proof of funds letter. There's so many things that could have happened in that.
Tell me real quick what your thoughts are on people buying and selling proof of funds letter. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. I can't tell the people your facial expression, bro. You gotta tell me what you.
Hey, if you want to continue to subscribe and put money in people's pockets, then you can do that. I wouldn't advise you.
They are selling. What's your thoughts? They're selling proof of funds letter on Fiverr. What you guys say about that?
How much is it?
$10.
Oh yeah. Hey, course dropping soon. Don't worry about it. I'm getting fixed.
I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, listen. I don't know how that business is sustainable for somebody to sell proof of funds letters if you create one yourself. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like,
again, you shouldn't even, when you're talking with a seller, proof of funds shouldn't even come up. The only way proof of funds comes up is if they've been screwed over by a previous wholesaler, somebody that didn't know what they're doing, or something like that. Other than that, when I talk to sellers, my people that we train to talk to sellers, they like to talk around the price. They talk about due diligence and they talk about a contract.
Right.
And once we go on a contract, if you need proof of funds, talk to the attorney. The attorney knows, of course, we're using somebody that we know. If we do need proof of funds, we have proof of funds.
Right.
But that comes from longevity of being in the business.
And
now making one up
that's another good response that you just said, John.
Mm-hmm.
Check with the attorney. That's another good response.
Because you got a relationship with that attorney. The attorney's going to say, well, hey, Glen and Tim calls here all the time. I'm sure they have the money to purchase this one.
Hey, listen.
Because guess what? They got an contract. We got a contract from the invite.
Most of my closing attorneys, when people ask for earnest money, I'm gonna open up the cheat code to the goats. I know y'all probably already know about this. I'm open up the cheat codes to the goats. I always have earnest money at the closing attorney's office.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always have earnest money, right? Any of my closing attorneys, call them up. They'll tell you my earnest money's already there.
And here go another cheat code. If I go to an open house when it's real hot, sometimes it's the hot properties. Y'all know I live when I love when I gotta go to open house, they be like, oh man, here go Johnny. He come from
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as you're dealing with, and now I had a situation like that, a cat that didn't get it. I told him, I said, I want to send the whole amount of money to your closing attorney. I told you about that. I want to wire the whole price, your asking price and everything to your closing attorney. He was like, put up the earnest money. I'm like, bro, what are we talking about here? He was like, and he gave the deal to somebody else. I don't know if they closed. He gave the deal to somebody else because I didn't send him the earnest money. I'm trying to wire you, I think it was $180,000 or something at the time. I'm trying to send all the money to your closing attorney. Give me the wiring instructions so I can send the money over to your closing attorney. He said, "Oh, you didn't put up the earnest money, so I sold it to somebody else." What? I don't know, man. Some people are built different, I guess. I guess they just accustomed to hearing earnest money. And if you don't put up that $1,000 or $2,000, they don't hear that you put all the money up before you even close.
Hey, and then in this market, you got to be a little bit more aggressive. Everybody's going to YouTube University. Everybody got mentors. It's not that the market is saturated. I hate when people say it's saturated.
Yeah. I don't believe it's saturated either.
I just wrote about like 10 deals at one of our renovations. I just wrote about like 10 deals.
Right.
On the same
Right.
street. So it's not that it's saturated. It's that you haven't found a solution to someone's problem.
That's it.
You find a solution to someone's problem, you'll always make money in real estate.
And somebody always has a problem.
And that's the thing. And here's the thing that I want to make sure people get as well. Not just the solutions to the buyer or the seller's problem, right? Well, from a perspective of the person who's actually the owner that's selling. I wholesale properties. I might have a problem. You see what I mean? So if you think outside of the box and not think from a traditional standpoint, there are wholesalers that may have problems with not being able to buy properties or sell properties. You see what I mean? Y'all can provide solutions to those problems for me. I think we lost Tim. Yeah. But we're gonna wrap up, man. We're a little over time. But listen, bro, thank you again for jumping in, bro.
Thank you guys, man. I interrupted the show.
No, bro. You never come on, man. You never interruption, bro. You never interruption, man. Listen, hey, you one of them cats that no matter what time you call, you always on time.
Man, here you go.
For sure. One call, that's all. All right, appreciate you, man. Thank you all for joining in over here on IG. Thank you all for joining in. Hey, bro, listen, I catch up with you. All right, thanks again, man. Thank y'all for chiming in. And again, this has been the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show, where we talk about real life real estate situations, but we bring you real life real estate solutions. Happy New Year if I don't get a chance to talk to any of you. Man, I think I'm losing my voice. Tashan, I got you. Tashan, I was supposed to follow back up with you yesterday. I got you. We're going to definitely follow up. But listen, go out, y'all. Do good business. Build relationships. Build rapport. Keep your integrity intact. Don't do business with people who are telling you to do things that are not above board. Now, there is some creativity in what we do, so you have to be creative in different situations, but you ain't got to be shady. You see what I mean? So let's keep it real. Let's do what we do, and let's do real life real estate investing. All right. This has been the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show. Thank y'all for watching.